Welcome to our culminating episode of our three-part series, Confessions from 9 Years in Business. Today, I'm going to share the thing that I just feel like nobody taught me in the beginning of business that I am so grateful to be able to give to you so much faster. Welcome to the Best Damn Coach. We are in the final episode of a three-part series that I've been doing called Confessions from 9 Years in Business. I've been celebrating officially passing that threshold of 9 years in business. I honestly didn't even track the specific date. I know it's a time. I don't know how you celebrate the actual decision versus the real decision versus, I don't know, the LLC. But, anyways, I'm here and it's been an amazing journey. I don't really know how to package my entire learnings into honestly words at some points because some of it's been so emotional, it's been so spiritual. And I was out on a walk and was like, really, like, what can I think that's really changed me and that has led to my success. So episode 1, we talked about how the decisions we keep and how we invest our time leads to consistency. And I shared my learnings there. Last week, we talked about that it's less strategy and it's more about shifting your identity. And today, I just want to transparently talk about what nobody told me in the beginning that wasted my time. And that has really influenced who I am as a person and how I teach. And that's not to discredit like anybody that has guided me. It's just that they didn't know what they didn't know, or maybe they didn't know how to troubleshoot at the level that I can see it for my clients. But the cool thing is about this is that it makes me so good at what I do now because I had to figure it out for myself. And I was about 13 years old, 12 years old, and I started having these crazy leg pains when I was playing basketball. I like my legs would get purple from the knee down and I wouldn't be able to walk after games or during games. And in particular, I remember one game where I just like collapsed in the middle of the game. My legs were excruciating and my coach and my teammate kind of escorted me off. I was seeing doctors and therapists. They were diagnosing me with basically telling me like, "Oh, it's your arch support. You don't have arch. It's your ankles. It's the way these things are moving." And it's long story short, we never really found a solution until I started high school, and a trainer at the high school kind of zoomed out and he was like, "Yeah, I think we're looking at the wrong thing. I think we're looking at the wrong problem. I think you have this thing called compartment syndrome, which is essentially when the fascia that surrounds your calf muscles is not moving. It's constricting blood flow and it's creating what looks to be like pain lower, but really it's a bigger problem." And sure enough, he ended up referring me to the appropriate doctor. They actually wanted to like recreate the pain. So they had me do a stair climber to build up essentially what was pressure in my calves. They plopped this meat thermometer, literally looked like a meat thermometer. It was actually a pressure gauge through my calf muscles without like I couldn't like numb it or anything because it would impact the results to confirm that I did in fact have compartment syndrome. And I freshman year had one leg done and then after basketball season and then months later had the other leg done and the good news is everything's been great since then. I share this story because I think about this story a lot as it relates to business because I look at early stage coaches and so many of us are treating the ankle or the foot when the whole leg needs our attention. And that is where I fell off in the beginning as well. If you don't know my early days, I stumbled into coaching, health and nutrition coaching, and the way I built my business was very organically in the business. People simply saw I had a transformation. I talked about the transformation. I would be at the gym. People would be like, "How'd you do that?" I was like, "Well, I help people do this." And it was very organic until like that ran out, right? And I knew I wanted more, but I didn't really know how do I take this very organic, natural word of mouth thing, but how do I blow it up? Because I had a huge vision. And so I spent way too long kind of zoomed in on the wrong things, and it kept me from seeing what was actually holding me back for so long. And I never really had anybody in hindsight that was able to see that for me. And so I think there's problems that you might be fixated on. My website isn't, it could sound like, oh, my website's not good enough. My Instagram bio needs to be rewritten. The funnel isn't converting. The branding doesn't feel right. But, like, we keep pointing to the ankle, meanwhile, the whole leg is still the issue, and so It's not about those are just symptoms, right? When those things are all not working, what it really reveals to me is like, what's the source of the problem? And oftentimes, what causes the symptoms is not having a clear foundational understanding of the type of business that we're actually running. The reality for all of us is you're not just a coach. I know some of you just want to be a coach, but you are a problem solver. And you until you can directly articulate the problem you solve and the direct result you produce, or at least better than you are, none of the other stuff that you're paying attention to is going to work the way you want it to. Ugh, I know it's tough. And or maybe you're already nailing it. And I think many of you are. I think many of you guys are brilliant. You are experts, you are lawyers, you are physicians, you are therapists, you are teachers. You all have this expertise that you've built over here, just like me. Brilliant at the coaching and transformation work, but now it's like we want to forecast that. We want to have massive impact, and we have to figure out how to transition the work we do into the understanding of or into a place where other people that aren't in our brains can understand it. And this is where I feel that I mean, I don't know how to say this better, but I think people in the coaching industry that serve coaches can prey upon newer coaches or coaches that are evolving because they don't know this. A great example, a new member of the BDC just joined and she was struggling getting clients. And so she decided she was going to help a web developer, a web designer to help her essentially have a better website. So she spent thousands of dollars with someone who basically directed her and told her she was a postpartum coach. To which, when she joined me, she was like, I don't love postpartum. It's not sitting with me. I was like, okay, just tell me, like, just do a brain dump. Tell me everything. And immediately I could see the core problem she solved and the core results she provided. And she was like, I'm literally in tears. You did this in 2 minutes. That the struggle is in an industry that serve coaches is that not everybody's great at getting to the root, right? And so we're like, it's the website, but honestly, it's not the website. It's the way you're talking on the website. It's the lack of tangible outcomes. And so I was thinking like a coach for a long time and not a business owner. I was great at coaching. I could create transformation so easily. I genuinely cared, like you guys. And still, it wasn't enough because I wasn't showing up as I was showing up just as a coach and not a business owner. And so I think a lot of times we think like our method and our heart and our process is going to be enough, and that the transformation can kind of be vague or coachy or clever. We want to sound smart and certified. But what thinking so that's like coach thinking. Can't tell you how many times I've talked to people and they just want to justify why they're awesome at coaching. I was like, I get it. You are so great. I know that about you. But what thinking like a business owner looks like is understanding that you exist to solve a problem for a specific reason, and measuring whether your messaging is actually landing, whether it just feels good to you. Like there is this happy space of having both, and seeing your offers as solutions and making sure that you have a framework that backs that up. And so I think for me, like I had clients, like many of you, things were moving, but I had a big vision and I kept hitting a ceiling. And the ceiling was that I hadn't made the shift in my mind from coach to true CEO. We talked about that a bit in the last episode. It's like there's this trap, I think, that often we fall into. It's overcomplication. I was looking at everyone else's businesses. I was thinking that was a map. I was trying to replicate what I saw. And instead of going back to the basics of, I have a problem, I'm solving it, or they have a problem and I am solving that. But I really think is you are the best one that can figure out what that problem is. You just sometimes need guidance. But if you're looking at the ankle and things aren't working, it's probably because there's something else there. The cool thing about this is it's not a problem for us. I'm here to share how to fix it. But honestly, I overcomplicated it. I overthought it. And I got into this, like I constantly needed to get people to come into my business and solve the ankle issue. And it wasn't that. The best and I've spent thousands of dollars on copywriters, not to knock them, but the best copy I've ever written didn't come from me even. It came from my clients. And then I just reproduced it. So the shift that changed everything for me was getting obsessed with why, like, the way I was saying things wasn't landing. Noticing patterns, noticing on different coaching calls what was really resonating. Clients would say something and it would hit, and that phrase or whatever, I would attach it. I would, like, I literally opened a document that was like client sayings, and I would just put them there. The cool thing about understanding that if we're focusing on the ankle is that getting bigger and seeing the holistic issue is what it means practically is your clients kind of do the work for you. The people that are your premium clients that you want to work with, the words they come out of their mouth are what our business is built on. It's the copy that goes on our web pages. It's the copy that goes on our social. When you hear someone describe their struggle in a way that gives you chills, like that should be your note. Yes, write that down. That is the thing that we're looking for. So I found that the more I was listening to people tell me about my business, the further away I got from nailing it. And the more I listened to my clients who I was having the conversations with, and I just kept consuming that and then giving it back to them through my email marketing, through my podcast, just like I am right now, the clearer my message got, and the clearer my message got, the faster the right people found me. So, I mean, this is an easy take home for you. Go back to the last 3 conversations you've had with potential clients or current clients. What are their exact words? Do not make them try to sound different. If she literally says, I feel like an old hag in my clothes, and you're a stylist, use that. If she's your most brilliant client that you love to work with, we want to use the messages and the way that people talk in the exact natural way that exists. So for me, this is the foundation that I had been missing. I kept feeling like I should have been further along. And what I didn't realize was that there were foundational things missing, and no coach I had worked with up to that point had actually given that to me. It was this shift, and I want to credit just like one sentence that James Wedmore gave me years down the road. And that was like, you're in the business of solving problems. So I am the solution maker. So if I'm a solution maker who is a coach also, then I need to let that solution maker part of me be in the front end, the external end. And then when they come into my world, then I can be the coach. And it's where I got so obsessed with framework building. I realized like, hello, it's all been in front of me this whole time. And I felt like for this year, it was just massive clarity that came into my world. But I wasn't failing because I wasn't smart or talented or any of those things. I was just missing a foundation that nobody laid for me. And the moment I started building it and seeing it, it was like a rocket ship of propulsion. If you're like, how do I do that? I mean, this is what I'm doing in all my programs. The fastest way to start is in the Framework Builder Lab or the Small Bite Offer. They're a very, very minimal investment, and you get to come in and coach with me, and I can help you get that clarity. This is the foundation. It's the red thread. And this is where I just felt like for so many years I was missing. And when I got it and when it clicked and I could see it, it changed all the ways that I thought about my business, right? I know what it's like for you to care deeply, to be all in, to genuinely be great at your craft, and to also feel stuck. And I just don't want you to stay in that place. So I built this series because I wanted to give you like the strategy, the actual things that are necessary for you to create success, and also the internal stuff that I really want to invite you that is part of the process. And if you're not engaging in both, you're putting whipped cream on poop, right? And it's just so many ways, the analogies for this. It's like if you're building a fancy website, but the foundation that we talked about today is poor, nobody's going to convert. And also, if you're trying to hard nose your way through strategy, but you're not shifting your identity, you're not going to have progress. So, episode 1 was all about how you spend your time. Episode 2 is about who you're becoming. And today it's all about seeing the whole picture very clearly. And all 3 things here are synergistic. You can have the best identity and still be zoomed in on the wrong things. And you can have the best time management system and still be unclear on the problem you solve. Right? For me, this is where the integration of the home is for the best damn coach. And if you're ready to go all in on being a part of the best damn coach, you heard this series, you're like, yes, I need those things. The best way to do that is to book a time to chat with me at amanda-walker.com/let's chat. I'll put my link in the show notes. Send me a DM. That's also an easy way to do it. And if you're maybe not ready to go all in on that, I have ways to support you that are still going to help you unpack the clarity, still going to help you identify the time and begin those shifts in maybe more bite-sized ways You can always visit my website, click work with me, and it gives a breakdown of what those are. So, if any part of this three-part episode series resonated, if you saw yourself in the busy but stuck version, or waiting to feel ready, or the zoomed in ankle version, like, I just am talking to you. Your brilliance and your craft is needed in this world, and it's time to take a next step. It's time to shift the identity so that you can create. I want you to be able to record these episodes in 9 years too and share your confessions of what it's like to run a coaching company for 9 years, and the stuff that tore out your heart, and the stuff that you realize, and the stuff that you can Monday morning quarterback and look back on that was so pivotal for you. But truthfully, the 9 years of business has taught me more about myself than any classroom or MBA could have ever, and it's just been the greatest gift that I didn't know I needed, and it's made me just a huge, a much better human being. It's helped me find my faith. It's just there's so many things here that I could go on and on about, but I hope these 3 episodes really land. Please share them with a community of coaches that you're a part of, or a colleague, and if any one of these particular episodes spoke to you, I'd love to have a conversation. Don't be afraid to shoot me an email or a DM. But I'm just cheering you on. I'm rooting you on. And I am just so grateful that you are here and we get to be on this coaching journey together. So until next time, go coach 'em up.